Greetings to you all. Welcome to Red Ninja Network. I'm Mr. Red. We have heard how bad things are going in this war with Iran. And we are also hearing how it's going to affect us. But not only are we hearing it, we're seeing it. We're seeing the prices at the gas pump rise. We're seeing that inflation is still creeping up. We're seeing that our healthcare premiums are gone. We're seeing that the economy is just barely hanging on. We are feeling the fact that we are in a recession. We are seeing that jobs are not easy to get anymore. And if you have a job, as tough as it may be, hang on to that shit. Because right now, there are a lot of people who don't have it. We see how bad things are. And yet, there are still people who still want to cling to hope that Donald Trump is going to do something about it and save them. And in today's video that I'm going to present to you, it's from a channel called Twins Hangout Kenya. They're going to show clips proving that Kamala was right. We know that she was right. All right. I had an encounter in the grocery store today, and I was like, these people just don't get it. And what I show you about the people who still rock with MAGA, who still rock with the president, who still rocks with It's Not Real, the reason that they continue to hold out for hope is very disturbing. And today we're going to talk about it. Let's strap in. Let's get after it.
Latinos, these white folks, and these goddamn Asians that put that man in office. She told y'all what was going to happen to this country. This country's going to hell in a handbasket. Y'all put a fraud in the goddamn office again. A 47-time felon, a grifter, a graper, an SA. You put that in office, you ain't think this country was going to run straight down to hell?
Listen, this is something I've been saying on the channel the whole time. Everything she just said, I've been saying. I've been telling you all that this man is not a leader. Leaders don't do the things that he does. He's running this country like he has his businesses, which he has bankrupted businesses 6 times. He's gone to court multiple times, being liable for being a fraud in that. He lies, he cheats on his wife, and he may have touched little kids. That right there should be completely disqualifying. Not to mention, the most disqualifying thing, other than the kids thing, is the fact that he led an insurrection against his own country. Yet these people still think like, you know what, he should be president. Of course Kamala was right.
Difference between Trump and the Biden administration.
What's the message to Iran?
Don't.
As President Biden said, just don't.
Exactly. One word. Pretty straightforward.
Wow.
I'm going to bomb the shit out of her. It's true. I don't care. I don't care. They've got to be stopped.
No, you got to be stopped. Those people wasn't doing a damn thing to us. And you've convinced yourself, this delusion that some of you all have, that you are entitled to do whatever it is you want to. See, you can tell the true measure of a person is what they do when they're given responsibility and moreover when they're given power. And Donald Trump has proven that the first time he was given power, he had people around him to try to rein in his worst instincts. But now that he has power now, what is he doing? He's using and putting our military service members at risk because he wants to feel powerful. He's like the small guy with a little penis that gets a huge truck. That's Donald Trump. This man is talking about taking over Cuba, and not to mention, those people are without power right now. And to all the Cuban Americans that didn't want to vote for Kamala, but here we are. Not only did he deport some of you all, now he's strangleholding your country. These recent elections have shown that some of you all ain't learned shit. Kamala had the sense to know that it was a bad idea. Trump don't know common sense from a hole in his ass.
You know, folks, one of the most frustrating parts about this whole thing in Iran is sitting and watching the timeline and seeing all of the clips resurface of Donald Trump talking and speaking against war, claiming to be the no more wars president, claiming to be the peace president, hearing all the MAGA influencers parrot what he said, and then going back and listening to Kamala Harris and other Democrats and other people and other influencers warn us about what Donald Trump would do. You know, people said we were being hyperbolic. People said we were trying to create hysteria. People said we were just trying to create clickbait. But I don't know about you all. When I was watching the debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, I was sitting there saying to myself then, she's 100% right here. She's spot on. This is what's going to happen. I'm glad people like Andrew Schultz is starting to come around, the bro podcaster. I'm glad he's starting to see through it. I'm glad other people are starting to see through it.
Let me say something before we get into what Kamala actually said. All those guys that's on the bro podcast, they had this microphone. It proves that when you give these people power and influence, instead of realizing that they have an awesome responsibility to the people that they're talking to, they want to be cool. This time that we're in, everybody's just about, hey, I'm trying to be cool. I'm trying to be famous. I'm trying to get these clicks. I'm trying to get this money and this clout. And these are real lives that are being affected by this shit. These people got up on here, the Andrew Schultz and the country dude who wears the cap from Louisiana, I think, or Texas, or who knows where his country is from. The Joe Rogans. Oh, bro, I didn't know that was that, man. I don't know anything about that. You all supported this man. You just listened to people that looked like you. And that was good enough, instead of this qualified woman here, who's a lawyer, who was a district attorney. It doesn't change the fact that she is more qualified to be president than he is. She is more intelligent to make better decisions, not just fly by the seat of his pants. Americans are going to lose their life over some of you all's decision to just be one of the bros.
Context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed disdain for members of our military. Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people.
That right there is pretty heart-wrenching to see, because Kamala laid out and told us exactly what was going to happen if you put that man in office. The Supreme Court has been complicit in allowing this man to believe that nothing was going to be able to stop him. And not only are they complicit, I believe that they are in full control by another nation. You all can figure out which nation, but I believe that they are. Hell, even some of the people that, or a person or so that are on the Supreme Court were in the Epstein files. So they're compromised. And then J.D. Vance, who sat up and said that Trump was a terrible person, now all of a sudden he's carrying water for him. Lindsey Graham forgot what he said. You got all who have backtracked on all of the shit they said was going to happen. All these people, if Trump got in office and now they're carrying his water. Kamala was the one who said, giving this man no guardrails. He is a very vindictive person. He goes after people that he feels have slighted him. These are traits of a textbook narcissist, if not some sociopathic tendencies. And this guy is now the commander-in-chief of our armed forces. Now listen, I don't want you to be under any illusion that just because you're starting to see polls swing a certain way, that we're out of the woods, that we just have to wait till the midterm elections because that's going to solve everything. No, what's going to really solve this is if more people are active, if more people realize this ain't no goddamn joke. But I told you that I was going to show you that despite all of the bad that this man is doing to this country, how he is single-handedly trying to, I don't even believe he's, I believe that he is purposely trying to bankrupt this country so we can all move to his cryptocurrency. How vain is that shit, right? Now, I have an even more disturbing reason why MAGA continues, or some in MAGA continue to support President Donald Trump.
Do you remember in September of last year when I made a series of videos about how there was mass spiritual psychosis on TikTok, where account after account after account were Christians claiming that they knew that the rapture was coming. They were all getting prepared. People were taking their kids out of school. They were selling their possessions, making their final goodbye videos to all of the heathen they thought would be left after the rapture. And I made a number of videos about it, how the rapture is entirely a non-biblical concept. You could argue that it's heretical, and yet we see people believing in it for so many reasons, right? Wouldn't it just be nice if you could just escape all of this awfulness that you Trumper Christians voted for and just rise up into the heavens and we're all left to deal with the Antichrist? Again,
we're dealing with this sick psychopath right now. I don't know if he's the Antichrist or not, but I'm going to tell you right now, this one sick son of a bitch is basically working whatever their agenda is to basically ruin this country. And y'all let him in. Y'all gave him a path. Y'all believed in him. And let's not even talk about the crazies. When I had my other channel, when I talked about the crazies that thought that, oh man, the rapture is about to happen here in December. And people, it wasn't even just white people, it was black people too, all in Africa. And there was a black pastor that had told people it was going to happen on a specific day, and then they kept pushing it. Oh, it's December 22nd. No, it's the 23rd. No, we had it wrong. It's the 24th. No, for sure it's going to happen on goddamn Christmas. Listen, it was absolutely ridiculous.
And the rapture is not biblical at all, but an awful lot of Christians believe it, just like they believe in, well, there's a lot of things that MAGA Christians believe that is totally extra biblical. Okay, so obviously the rapture didn't happen. A bunch of those folks said they would make apology videos or follow-ups if they weren't raptured. No, they didn't. Their accounts just went bye-bye. And unfortunately, that kind of event doesn't cause these people to suddenly have an epiphany and leave their culty religion. What it causes them to do is say, oh, we must have miscalculated. There must be something we didn't get quite right, but the rapture's still, the end of the world is still about to happen. And we just have to find a new date. It's always moving the goalpost. And this is the part that you're not going to like. The goalpost has been moved to 2026. A lot of people are saying Easter 2026. And it absolutely ties into the war in Iran, which is why I'm bringing it up.
In 2026, Easter, what will happen? The star will, the alignment she told me about, that the Star of Regulus would be on the horizon in front of the Sphinx. At that moment, there'd be a new knowledge. Well, I had no idea if this was even possible, that these astronomers run it through the machines and it comes out that star is going to come up on the horizon in Easter of 2026. And from that point forward, they started remote viewing the state. Government did. And now you hear it all over TV. 2026, that's the big date. 2027, that year, something's going to happen. Armageddon, you hear it all over. You hear it on TV. If you study, I've heard it even. Well, I won't say names, but...
Please do.
Well, Lou Elizondo, right? Lou's mentioned that date. A lot of people have.
Easter 2026.
Well, the year 2026. I gave him a specific time. And it was with Robert Grant that I told him about this alignment and all. And he's like, oh, my God.
This was the exact thing that happened with the rapture video. Someone came along and then convinced people, weak-minded people, that this is a real thing. And these people who are waiting for the return of Christ think that they're good people. These people only think about themselves. They're only good people to appease their conscience. But if they didn't have those things, they would be some of the worst insufferable people ever. These were the same people that would have been cheering along if one of my people was strung up from a tree, cheering it, eating body parts, taking memorabilia. Those same people back in the day thought that they were God-fearing Christians. They thought that doing horrific shit to a human being still made them worthy, still made them Christ-like. I don't know about you. I don't remember Jesus doing anything like that in the Bible. And this is why I say it's a hopeless cause. MAGA still believes this shit. They still think that Christ is coming for them. They still think that after all of the evil in their heart and the hatred and the racism, they still think that there's a place for them in this heaven that they think they're getting into. And so they still support Donald Trump because, as I stated just a moment ago, that these are weak-minded people. And if you look at history, history is littered with a bunch of weak-minded people. And that is no different here in 2026. Stay vigilant, stay engaged, stay revolutionary.